All right, guys, we're going to get started. I am so excited to have Christy with me. Hey, Christy,
Hey,
how are you?
I am doing all right. How
Is
are
it a good
you?
day? I'm good. Is it a good day in Boston?
It is a great day in Boston. It's nice and sunny. It's good weather. We're finally actually feeling what, I don't know, what summer feels like.
Cool. Well, it's hot in Texas today, but
That
um,
was it, like 100?
I don't know what the temperature was today. Honestly, I was outside in the porch doing some work, but on my computer, but I think it was in the 80s.
Oh,
Um,
that's not
and it's
bad.
not really not that bad. No, it's not bad for June, but um,
No, you just
so
wait
but
until you get that 100-degree streak.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're familiar with that being from Oklahoma. But
Yep.
guys, this is just an honor to have Christy with me. You know this story if you saw the sales page, she was in my private label mentoring program, and I saw her testimonial about starting a private label product in 4 weeks with under $100, and I had to know more. So I contacted her. We talked. I wanted to make sure she wasn't just, saying that. And so she's for real. I've seen her method. It's for real. And it's quite simple, honestly. And you'll probably be like me and wonder, why in the heck did I not think about this and do that? Um, but that's why I like about it. It's simple. Anybody can do this. It's totally replicatable for anybody. And so just some housekeeping things, guys. If it's blurry at all, if the audio cuts out or anything, there's a reconnect button at the bottom of your screen. Just click that and you'll come right back where we left off. This is being recorded, so if you need to jump off at any time, no problem. You'll get the recording. And also, this is going to go a little bit longer than a regular webinar. We're going to take time for question and answers. So let's get right into it. Christy, I'll let you have the floor.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we're going to try. We're going to try to keep it in the 60 minutes. I have a sneaky feeling we're going to go over, especially with the questions and stuff. We're going to try our hardest. I know everybody's kind of got a deadline of things. But thank you guys all for coming. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to share this with you. We've got a lot to cover. I talk really fast, but I will try to slow down at certain points. But I want to make sure that we get to all the questions that you have. Just as an FYI, I'm not seeing any of the questions. Ryan's seeing all of those. So ask your questions as we go. He'll try to relay some of those to me as we're going along. If not, we'll save them at the end. We'll definitely address them at the end. So let's get going. I put together a quick agenda just so you guys can know kind of what we're looking at. The first thing we're going to cover, I'm going to talk about my story. I know some of you know it, some of you don't, but I did create a private label product in 4 weeks. That was concept from concept to it actually being sold. So that was the total 4 weeks there. So I'm going to take you through my process. I'll show you sort of the timeline and the breakdown of that. That's naturally going to bring us into where I've been sourcing.
Cool.
You've probably heard of some of these places. I think is the cool part of it, is that you've probably heard of some of these places. Some of them are right underneath your nose. And you either just didn't think of them, totally like me for a long time, didn't think of these, or maybe you just did, but you just didn't know how to use them. So we're going to go through all of those. And then I'm going to talk about ways to utilize. There's really two ways. I'm going to spend the majority of this webinar talking about just one of the ways. I will, I'll walk you through both, but one is just a really simple and easy way. And then we're going to get into some examples. And guys, I spent the majority of my preparation for this webinar pulling out really good examples for you. I found in other webinars, it's really so much easier to grasp when you can see that in action.
Absolutely.
And they're real products. These are products that I would probably do myself, that I would easily do myself. So I really want you to get the most out of this. I want those creative wheels turning, hopefully, by the end of all of this. And I want you to walk away feeling like you can really, really do this. So let's get started. All right. So this is me, and this is my fuzzy little love.
Riley.
Riley. His name's Riley. He was a little bitty baby there. This was taken last year, but he's my fuzzy little bundle of joy, and he's a miniature golden retriever. And I chose this photo for two reasons. One, pretty much first and foremost, I'm totally shameless. I would take any opportunity to show him off, so this was a perfect opportunity for me to do that. But secondly, he was my inspiration for this product. My product was a pet product, and I chose pets because I am a huge consumer of pet products. So everything, I need everything, everything from collars to toys to food. I mean, you name it, I'm in Petco on a daily basis, PetSmart on a daily basis. I am a huge consumer. So I figured it'd be best to start in an area that I knew a lot about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense.
On the right side, you're going to see my breakdown of sort of my 4-week timeline and kind of where I spent, how much time I spent on each one of these segments. So I first started out, I think my very, very, very first step one was, I'm pretty sure I Googled something like, I want to say it was like wholesale directory list or something really, really basic. And I clicked on one of the first pages. There was a couple listings that came up, and I clicked on one of the first pages that popped up, and it had a lot of wholesale companies listed. And it broke it down by product type, which was perfect for me because I already knew what I was looking for. I spent, there's probably 10 or 15 companies listed there for pet products. And I spent about 3 days combing through these pet websites. I found a lot of really good ideas to add to my list. I kind of, in my journal that I keep to the side. But it wasn't until probably that third day, and quite frankly, it was probably like 2 hours each day. So it's not like this was a 72-hour deal, but it wasn't until probably day 3 that I came across a product that I had just never seen before. And it was just all my pet owning. I grew up with pets. Like I just never, it was a concept that I had never thought about before. So obviously I was immediately intrigued. And so I went to Amazon and I checked it out and I started doing some digging. And I found that the most purchased with item was something very similar, but yet it was another product that I had never ever seen before. So I started digging into that product, and I found out instantly there were only 3 sellers that were selling this type of product. All of them were merchant fulfilled, and they all looked homemade-ish, if I can say that. They definitely had sort of this private label feel to them. They were just such a basic product. And again, they sort of looked a little bit homemade to them. So, and the fact that there was only one seller on each one of these listings, they were different sellers. It just really kind of read private label to me. The best one, so this was a niche, is that, which one is it?
I say niche.
Very, within, right? Yeah. Very specific, but the one of the 3 that were there, the one that had the sort of the most reviews and everything, had a rank of 6,000, even down to 4,000 at the time I was looking at. Wow. 4,000. It had a lot of reviews, everything was positive across the board. People were kind of glowing about this. So, it had a really good rank. So I sort of looked at the numbers. I figured, I can do that. It is just so basic. So, and I can do it better. I figured I could, there was fine. I started looking through the reviews and I figured I can do this and I can do it better. So, a little bit about me. I'm not a designer, but I've spent most of my career in the marketing world. And so I've picked up a few things along the way. I know enough to be dangerous, if you will, with the Adobe tools. So I started designing. I just opened it up. I opened up a thing and I started designing. I could have easily done this, by the way, in Publisher. I'm a doofus when it comes to Publisher. Now that I know how to use Adobe, I just can't use basic products anymore. And so I started reading the reviews and I started thinking about ways that I can make enhancements. And I just worked on this just a little bit every day, just a little bit. And after about a week, I felt really good about it. So I hadn't told anyone I was doing this yet. So at that point, I had a product that I could show. And so, that week kind of went by. And so then the next week, I decided I was ready to pass along to friends and family. And I got their feedback. I actually got a really, really good suggestion for an enhancement. So I kind of had to go back to the drawing board a little bit. But I refined it some more. And then that took about another week. And then I was ready. I knew it. It looked good. This is exactly how I wanted it to look. And so then I moved on to the next phase. And so this is the purchase phase where it took me 1 day. What you need to understand is this is a very basic product. It is essentially a paper product, okay? I knew at the very beginning, as soon as I saw it, I could go to any printer and have this created, basically. So I started with the one that I knew the most about, which was Vistaprint. And it turns out I was just going to go there just to get just check out pricing and see what it would cost and just kind of, do some feeling around. I didn't expect to do it in a day, but I looked at their pricing and they had a sale going on and whatever. And so it was a pricing that worked for me. So $68 later, I'm pretty sure $68 later, I pulled the trigger and I had a product that was in production and shipping and on its way to me in my house in 5 days.
Oh my goodness.
So it was much faster than I had expected, but I was not, I was very pleasantly surprised at that. So right to my house, it looked great. I opened it up, looked great. It was great quality. It was exactly what I wanted. I picked the highest quality that you could get of this type of thing. I packaged it, I labeled it, and I sent it off to Amazon. And it was live. I think by the time it got to the warehouse, I think it was live. I want to say it was live for 3 days, and 3 days, and then it sold. And not only did it sell, but it sold actually 2 in that first day that it sold. And basically, ever since then, I've sold anywhere from 1 to 3 of these products every single day since then. And awesome. I think it was just the other day, I think I sold 4 in one day. And guys, I have done no marketing, none. I've not done any giveaways. This is pretty much organic sales that I've done. And I've done that intentionally. I do plan to do marketing. I just wanted to get some feedback. I've got a couple of customer reviews. They were all, luckily, thank you, they were all 5 stars. I'm very happy about that. But some of them actually had some good feedback with it as well. And so I wanted to get that so I can maybe for the next batch kind of do a tweak or 2. But that was the reason I haven't done marketing yet, but I would have. But within, I would say of it being, I can't remember, I want to say it was within 3 to 5 days after I'd started selling it. I got that little tag, the little orange tag that was the #1 new release.
Oh, that's awesome.
In that particular category. It was a tiny category, but it was the category, right? So it was a niche category.
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, that's sort of my journey there, but I know that it's helpful for some people. So sort of for the sake of transparency, I'll tell you that this product cost me, the entire unit cost me about 85 cents.
Wow.
Very, very inexpensive. I could get it less than that. Eventually I could, but the difference between 85 and 65 cents or whatever is
right.
It's not a big deal, but I could, and I will. I sell it for about $10. It is FBA. And the profit about $5.25 on each one of those. So the ROI is in the hundreds, right?
That's crazy. So you spend 85 cents, make $5.25.
I mean, and so, and I know that that's a little bit lower. So when I had started out, I kind of had a few goals. I definitely didn't want to do one of my goals was that I didn't want to do anything less than $10 profit, whatever the good ROI, right? But I was looking for $10 profit. But guys, for the success rate, being able to pull the trigger and have this work, right, for the success rate, and the ability to eventually create multi-packs and size variations. That was one of the feedback that I got. Oh, this is great. This is fantastic. I had to order 2 because I really needed it to be bigger. Size variations, the bundles. This is such a basic product that it could really be bundled with a lot of things. It was just 100% worth it. So even though it was a little bit lower, I mean, I'm certainly not complaining about it, but I know that a lot of people, when you're getting started and when you do a private label product, you don't want to spend all this time and effort to just have a couple dollars for each one, even if you can do it. So,
sure.
I want to give the numbers out there because I feel like that's helpful for people. In the examples that I get into later, I try to choose examples that were, they were also, you could take the concept, right? And then as soon as you got that, as soon as you had it stopped, just change it, just to change the theme or just change something about it. So I try to pick examples that really could kind of hit all of these marks that I went through.
That's awesome. Well, just say, if you say, look at that, you said you do maybe 1 to 3 a day. If you did 3 a day, and you have 4 products like that, that's $1,800 a month just on 4 products.
Right?
It's crazy.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm definitely happy with that.
I would be.
I do. I want to. So that's pretty much my story, but I want to kind of pause there for just a second. I know for some of you guys, I know I just said the word Vistaprint. And there's probably a handful of you who have, I mean, maybe you've even, opened up your browser and you're starting to look at the products that they sell, which is awesome. That's great. There's probably on the opposite end, there's probably another handful of you who are rolling your virtual eyes at me and thinking that this woman really wants me to create a private label product out of like business cards and wedding invitations and posters and things like that. So I just want to acknowledge that. And by the way, that is a very valid response. But the answer is yes, I do. I've done it and I continue to do it. it. But what I really want to say, and what the point that I really want to make here, is that Vistaprint is one of the largest promotional companies out there. Same thing for 4imprint and Lady Imprinting. It's one of the biggest companies out there, and they specialize a lot in paper products. But guys, there are hundreds and hundreds of other promotional companies out there that are not just local, not just to the US or to North America, international companies with huge reach, with huge buying power, with thousands and thousands of products for you to choose from. Things like steel gardening tool sets, or Tabasco sauces, or what did I see the other day? So an inflatable sleeping bag, dollhouse furniture sets, like crazy things that you would not have probably thought about from a promotional company. So there's just thousands of products out there to choose from. So I just ask for you guys who heard Vistaprint and kind of a little cautious about that, just stick with me. Just stick with me.
Christy, very, very, very quick question. Most of the questions will be at the end, but somebody asked, did you list the product and then wait for it to sell before you had Vistaprint produce it for you?
No, I didn't, but I suppose that you could.
Okay.
Nope, I was not that big of a risk taker. I wanted it to be there. And I only sent in what I ordered from Vistaprint. I only sent in a portion of my supply.
Got it.
Because I knew that I knew that I eventually wanted to bundle it. So I didn't know if I wanted to send in half here and then half later along with the bundle.
Got it. All right.
No, I waited until I got there. But so anyway, just whatever you guys, whatever thoughts you might have had about promotional companies, just put those aside just for a few minutes, just for the next hour or so. I promise I'm going to show you how you can really make this work for your business. So, all right. Any other questions, Ryan? Any other?
No, we're good for now. So you guys, if you have questions, we'll post something in the chat on how to do that. You can mark it as a question, but we're going to try to keep most of them at the end, so we're not messing up Christy's flow.
Well, either way. Well, I mean, we can.
You're good either way, right?
Right. Okay. So promotional stores. All right. So I know I just sort of give you, I guess, a bit of an introduction there, but what are promotional stores? So my personal definition, I guess, is they're a lot like a wholesale company with a built-in private labeling system. Yep. They're a middleman between the manufacturer, right, and you. So, but they're a little bit different than wholesalers. They're similar and different, right? So they're similar in the sense that there's a middleman, right? The same thing, same component there, but you don't have to set up an account, and you don't have to prove that you're a business owner in order to purchase, right? Because a lot of times you have that with wholesale companies. Right. They cater to small business owners. I'm gonna say this as a general thing. I find that they have lower minimums than wholesale companies. Now, that's just a general statement. I know that there are wholesale companies where you can buy one thing. I know that there's promotional companies where they'll force you to buy 2,000 before you get somewhere. So that's just sort of like across the board. Again, there's all different shapes and sizes of these guys. They basically, the service that they are providing, though, is that they expect you to print your logo or your image on their product, whatever that product is. That's the service, is they help you get to be able to do that. So most of them won't sell you a blank product. You have to sort of customize it. So that's generally the services they provide, right? Is customizing that product for you. But Ryan, I know that you work a lot more with wholesale companies, so maybe you want to add.
You nailed it. I mean, you nailed the differences. I mean, wholesale companies are typically going to have a higher minimum. And you're going to find wholesale companies at trade shows. Most of them aren't going to have built-in private label programs. Some of them do in the grocery and health and beauty area. But what you said about promotional stores, you pretty much nailed it with the difference.
Cool. All right. So I've got a list here of different companies that I use. I have been working with, so again, my background was in marketing. I've been working with promotional companies for probably 4 to 5 years now. So I have worked with all different kinds, shapes and sizes, some who have a specialty product that they only sell 1 or 2 products, and then some like Safeguard that they sell thousands and thousands of products, right? So across the board, I've worked with almost all of them, dozens of different products, and I've done that mostly with my job, with the company that I had worked for. But I'm finding such great correlations between that and using that for my Amazon business. So What I've got here is a list, and these are companies, all of these I have worked with them at one point or another, so I just wanted to give you guys a couple, but what I've done is really bucket them in two different categories here. So you've got the relationship, and then you've got online. I'm going to be talking mostly, at least for the next few slides, I'm going to be talking mostly about relationship because I think that's what you guys are probably less familiar with. Online is really, it's pretty straightforward. We're going to talk about it, but it's pretty straightforward. I mean, you pick a product, you upload your logo, you verify that I have spelled everything correctly and that it's my fault if anything messes up. And I mean, it's pretty straightforward. They just sort of walk you through that process. They make it very easy for you to do online. So relationships, however, they have a lot more services they can offer you. So they can sort of, I almost look at them like a partnership. So I'm going to go through some of the benefits of them, but I just want to say that while I've got this here, so for relationships, the top one here is called Safeguard Promotions on the relationships, and online I've got Vistaprint at the top. So as I'm going through examples and as I'm talking about these things, I'm using these two as my to represent each one of these categories. So when I'm talking about Vistaprint, I'm talking about all of the ones, all the major ones online, right? And I'll let you know if I'm specifically talking about one or the other. But in the Safeguard, whenever I'm talking about Safeguard, it generally applies to a lot of the companies out there that have this relationship type of promotional services. So that kind of thing. So I'm using those as my two representations there.
Cool.
Getting into it. So cool. So we're talking about the this is a couple of images here. These are 3 of the many catalogs that I could have pulled screenshots for from Safeguard. So we're talking about the relationships here. They have thousands of products. I mean, if we're talking about all these catalogs, thousands of products. They have high-end products. They have low-end products. You can go from a couple of, something that costs a couple cents all the way up to things that can cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars. They've got them at all different price points. So it doesn't have to be cheap little tchotchke kind of things.
Right.
They also offer a variety of services, right? So I've picked out a couple of the biggest ones. The first one here, research, right? First of all, you're getting a human. You're building a partnership. I work with Scott Simmons, who is the local rep for Safeguard here. He and I have been working together for 5 or 6 years. We've got 4 or 5 years. We've got a really, really good relationship. So I'm building up a partnership there. But there's just this human interaction. I can get second opinions on things. They can do research for me and they can make suggestions. So you don't have to know, whenever I call them, I don't have to know exactly what it is that I want. And so I put an example over here for this picture. And so this is candles with, glass, white candle, whatever. So if this was a product that I wanted, let's just say I decided that's something that I wanted, I would probably call up Scott and I'd say, Scott, okay, I'm looking for candles. This is what I'm using it for, just so you have background. I want white candles. I want it to be in a glass jar. I want it to have sort of this craft sort of label here. And I want it to go in a bag that's whatever. And I think I went, 3 different sizes. I want a small, medium, and large. So maybe like a 3 ounce, a 5 ounce, and like a 10 ounce jar, right? So I need to be able to give them to variety or sell them at these different points. He'd say, great. He might ask me a couple of questions. He's really good about pulling questions. So it could be everything from when do you need this by, how soon do we have, whatever, all these questions. And then I'll say, okay, I'll get back to you. And I would probably get an email. I'd probably get an email from him within probably 48 hours, probably within 2 days. I would get an email and he'd probably send me a couple of quotes and he'd instantly call me, probably 5 minutes later, say, don't look at that, let's walk through it together. So he would call me back and he would say, okay, so this is what I found. I found a company that can do, these glass products. They can do white. It's sort of like a cream color. Is that okay? We can do the 3 ounce, 5 ounce, and 10 ounce. We can do that. I did look into another company who's one of our preferred providers, and they can do a 4 ounce, a 6 ounce, and a 12 ounce, and it's actually 25 cents cheaper per comparison per unit. And I would, okay, great. I mean, I'm not totally married to the fact that it's 3, 5, and 10. I just need a small, medium, and large. So he would, so he's already kind of done a little bit of checking for me, which one's better, the other benefits of other. What he'll also probably ask me, and when I don't know exactly what I want, is that he wants to make sure that I'm getting the exact product, that I'm going to be very happy with this. So he'll say, okay, so this comes into a glass, right? how thick of that glass do you want, right? Like, because we have ones that are this thick and this. Do you want stained glass? Do you want blown glass? I don't even know all the options of glass, but he basically start asking me, okay, I don't know if there's different variations in candle, but he's going to know that. I don't need to know that. So he's going to ask me that. Okay, do you want, do you want like a regular white or a cream white? Basically, he's going to help me work through that process.
Wow, that's awesome.
So it's really beneficial if you let them help you. You're not going to be able to call them up and say, hey, do research for me and do X, Y, and Z. Some of that is a partnership that's kind of been built over time with us. But they have to know that you're serious too. You can't totally waste their time. So, but that's something you can really find a way to use them very well. And it's, it doesn't take 4 or 5 years to be able to get to that point.
Right.
So good stuff. One of the other benefits is they have the big ones, right? So we're talking about a generalization here. So I'm using Safeguard as the example, but some of the big companies out there, they have built-in art departments. They usually have 2 different kinds of art departments. They have what they call the pre-flight, which is where they basically send everything to print, and it's just a human looks at it, make sure that it's okay. Is the resolution good? If it's not good, if they see that, they'll contact Scott and they'll say, Scott, can you ask her to give us a better logo? It's not a good resolution. And then he'll come back to me and whatever. So they can do that. They sort of do that human element checking for you. So that's pre-flight.
Okay.
What they can do, and that's, by the way, that's all free. They just do that as part of the service.
Free. Wow. Oh my gosh.
Right. There's a lot of built-in things here. Let's see. Okay. So then they also have another art department. It's a big, a true art department that they have designers that can create everything. So let's just say that this is a Kleenex tissue box. Whenever it lays out flat, it's before you put it together, this is how it would print out. Let's just say my logo is Kleenex. That's all I want. I want a tissue box. I want one on either side. I can just send them, here's my logo, put it on either, on 2 sides, print it for me. That's all I want. Right. And so they could do that for me free of charge. They'd send me back a proof. I would approve it and they would go. They could also, so let's just say that I had a much more complex design, right? So I say I want like pink and yellow and it's splatter and I want the whole thing and whatever. That if they had to create a design for you, they can do that. That will likely be a fee, but it won't be outrageous. So I'm a little hesitant to put numbers out there, but it's not going to be hundreds of dollars. I would be surprised if it was more than 100. I would say between 50 and 100 unless it got crazy and you guys were going back and forth and whatever. But so they can do that for you. So that's one option. The second option is that they can send me this template. This is likely created in InDesign or Illustrator, right? So they're going to send me a source file template. That's what the source file is. It's created in that particular program. And it won't have anything on here. It'll just have all these like weird shaped boxes and cut lines and all things like that. And so what I can do, and what I would likely do in this case, is I would find a designer, much more advanced than me. I would find a designer, probably on Fiverr. I've used Fiverr quite a bit. I know you can go to Odesk, find a designer that freelances for you, and tell them, can you build me this design? And you'd go back and forth with them on whatever design you wanted and all of that. But essentially, they would create the design for you, and they would send you back the source file with it now, with it on the template. It is print ready because they sent it to them blank, but print ready. So they would send it on. I would just pass it along. I couldn't open it because I don't have that program. I would pass it along to them. It would go to their pre-flight department, right? A human would look at it and they would say, okay, this looks good, right? Designer to designer, it probably looks good. And they would send it to print. They would send me a proof and then they would send it on to print. So they can help you in all of those stages, in any one of those sort of, if you have it all ready to go, they can do that. If you need them just to do one little tweak, they can do that for free. Usually it's two PDF proof, 2 proofs for free, generally with Safeguard has been my experience. And then they also just have a design department. If you don't have a place to go, if you don't want to mess with that, you just want it to happen all in-house, you can certainly do that. So that's one of the good benefits. Samples. So samples. It's always good to see the product, right? We know that. We want to be able to see it. We want to hold it. We want to feel sort of the quality for it. So let's say that you wanted to order this glass, right? And you wanted it white and you wanted your logo here. if you were serious about this, you can't just call them up and just say, hey, you know, send me a sample of X, Y, and Z, right? You've kind of got to go through the process, talk with them. They'll probably send you a quote, and then you'll say, okay, they need to know you're at least somewhat serious about potentially buying this. They'll probably send you something similar, right? So it might be a green or a blue, but it's basically going to be the exact same glass. So you're really measuring quality here, right? So they're able to send you that. I have found that they know that you're interested. They know that this is one of the last steps that you have to make a decision. So they're probably gonna, they send it to me very quickly.
That's awesome.
Half the time I get things overnight. I don't want to promise that, but if they can, they will get it to you very quickly because they know that that is sort of your last straw in making that decision. So It's not something that you have to wait a couple weeks for.
So if we go to your apartment, Christy, will you find all these glasses there? Like you have glasses from all these other plates and you didn't have to spend any money on it?
No, you'll find blankets. I've got a bunch of these white blankets. I was ordering something. It was I wanted a specific size, and it was a lap blanket to go on for people in a wheelchair, right? And so you can't have it too long because then it'll get caught in the wheels. So I was looking for this very specific size, and really the only thing that's even moderately in the standard-ish size of what I was looking for are baby blankets. Those come in pink and blue and yellow, and totally look like baby blankets. So the only option I could find was like an off-white or like a cream or something. So anyway, I have many white blankets sitting here that I'm staring at right now. But yes, so you're not gonna find glasses, but you're gonna find blankets. I definitely want to report on that one. So all right. Trends. Okay, so this is one of the cool things. And this example here just sort of kills me. I know I told you about this already. Yeah. So, okay, so they know, right? So they're in the know, right? They know what people are calling for. They know what people are asking for from all different industries. They work with all these different manufacturers. So they know what the manufacturers are pushing. They generally know what is trending and what people are asking for. And so I use this here as an example. I don't know if you're really able to tell what it is, but Scott called me, or I called him probably, I don't want to say it was about 2 years ago. And I said, Scott, you know, I'm looking for something. I want it to be tech related, maybe for cell phones or iPads. I don't know, whatever. What's happening out there? Like, tell me about it. And he goes, you know what? People are really asking for this. And I said, well, what is this? And he goes, you know what? I'm just going to send you some samples. So, okay. So he sent me this. And what it is, if you can see over here, so it's basically a little like microfiber cleaner thing that has sticky on the back, and you stick it on the back of your phone, right? You take it off, you can easily just peel it off, and you clean your phone with it, right? Because the phone's really dirty. People don't keep those towels with them at all times, not with your phone, right? So that was the idea. And then you could stick it back on your phone whenever you were done cleaning. And the idea was this is reusable so that you could go, you can go rinse this off so you can get the dirt off, but it also would reactivate the stickiness, right? So then it was able, after a few times, after you take it off and put it back on or whatever, the stickiness would kind of go away. So water would reactivate that. So he's like, everybody's asking for this. These things were, dirt cheap, whatever. So you can now, I looked and I found this on Amazon. You can find this, and it's only been listed for maybe a year and a half. Just looking back, and I'm like, I knew about this 2 years ago.
Wow.
I didn't do anything with it. But anyway, so that's just one example that I just strongly remember. But so they know about trends. And I put this here for Under Armour because I called him up last week. I called Scott and I said, tell me what trends are going on. I'm doing this webinar. Tell me what do you got? What do you got? What can I pass along? And he said, well, he owns sort of that. And so he didn't know anything sort of right offhand, but he said, you know what I can tell you is Under Armour just launched corporate apparel in January. So they didn't have that as an option before. And they cherry picked 1% of all the promotional companies that are out there. Remember how I said there's hundreds and hundreds? They were very selective on who they chose to be able to use their products, right? Use their brand and then logo on top of them. And one of them was Safeguard. Wow. So you can use this. You can actually go there now. If you're into that, right? If you were looking for something like that, you can use their name brand, Under Armour, right? You're getting the quality and brand of Under Armour, but you can put whatever you want on it, right? Like you could put like hashtag fitness. I mean, whatever comes to mind that you can use that, and you can use that in your listing because that's what you're actually using. So it was just really interesting. I mean, I don't do a whole lot with clothes, but if someone was interested in that and you were really wanting to tie quality, right? Like
you have to look that up too, because I know the Under Armour is Amazon recently restricted that actual brand, like for people doing retail arbitrage. So I wonder if it would be different for corporate apparel.
That's interesting. That's interesting. I had not heard that. All right. Well, everyone keep that in mind. I didn't know that. But anyway, he had just told me that the other day, and so it was. That's interesting.
That's good. Gary said not all of it, so that's true. Gary sells a ton of it, so that's good. I just heard that some of it might be restricted, so that's good to know.
Yeah,
Appreciate it, Gary. Thanks so much.
Oh, thanks. All right. So a couple of other just quick benefits here. Generally, the larger ones, larger to medium-sized ones, they can ship internationally, right? And you can split shipments. And I think this would be helpful for those. So you can send, 50 of the widgets, to your U.S. prep ship company, right? So you can send it on to FBA or whatever. You can send the other 50, right, to your house if you wanted to do merchant fulfilled, that kind of thing. You can send 50 of them to Canada, to your prep ship company in Canada if you want. You can't, I think it would be a far stretch. I'm actually going to probably say very unlikely they can do drop shipping for you. I know that people there's thoughts on if you should do that or not either way, but that's not probably a service that I would say that they would provide. But that can save you from having everything shipped to your house or to one center and then pay shipping again to send it to another place. So they can definitely split shipments for you. So I think that would be helpful for some people. Oh, he'd probably kill me for putting this out here, but sometimes they can get products outside of the catalog. So if you were looking for what you're looking for. You're looking for a very specific item. You go and you look on their catalog, or you call them up and I say, whatever my specific item is, this is exactly what I'm looking for. It needs to have XYZ feature. They can sometimes find that for you. This has happened to me once. I was looking for a very, very, very specific box, and they had something, but it wasn't quite the right size. So they went and they asked that manufacturer to see, can you make a smaller size? They said no. So, okay, fine. And so I found another one, and I said, I found the box that I want, but I don't think it's a really good price, even though they're telling me this is my wholesale, and it was not a good price. I didn't think. And so he said, yeah, let me try calling him. Let me see what I can, maybe we have a relationship with them. So he had to go sort of through his channels, whatever that means. And he came back and he was able actually to give me another 20% discount than what they were giving me. So they can do that. I would say that's not a common thing, but it was a really cool thing when it happened to me. So I thought I'd pass that along. They will rerun or refund for any defects on their products. I mean, I put this out there. I think that's pretty much industry standard, really. I mean, right, Ryan, like with wholesalers, right? Like if there's something wrong with it, they're gonna stand by their products. So right. That's pretty common, but I think there's value in saying it anyway. So, all right. So there's it's not all
private label donuts.
Donuts? No, I wish I did. Did I tell you, if anyone's near New England or the Boston area, it's like the headquarters for Dunkin' Donuts. So there's one on every single corner. You can't get away from Dunkin' Donuts. Like my favorite, I grew up in Oklahoma. My favorite is Daylight Donuts. I know that's a tiny, tiny little chain. There's probably a few there. Maybe in Texas. Maybe in like Grapevine. I feel like there's one in Grapevine. But anyway, can't get them anywhere. Can only get Dunkin' Donuts like on every corner. So, all right. So a few additional costs. So I don't want to say everything's roses here, but a cost that you can probably expect, not all the time, but you could probably expect is that you're going to have a one-time setup fee. And that's per item or per product, right? So if I have my logo, I have Christy's logo, and I want to put it on a mug or whatever, they're going to charge me a one-time setup fee, probably. It's not an outrageous price. I'm hesitant to put out a dollar sign out there, but I also don't want people, if they say that it's, great, we can do this, it's $200 setup fee, that should be a red flag. It should be probably around the $50 mark if I just had to throw out a number.
And also, we're talking also mainly about relationship. We're not talking about the Vistaprints of the world, correct?
Correct. We're still on that. Yes. We're still talking about that.
Right. Because some people might be adding up in their heads, like you're talking about a setup fee and all these other fees, and how in the world did you do it for under $100?
Yeah. You certainly can. Yeah, you definitely can. Yeah, so you're going to set up feet. And then the second thing is, and that probably won't apply for most everyone here, but I want to go ahead and mention it, is it's color matching, Pantone matching system. The acronym is PMS, color matching. That is just what it's called. It stands for Pantone matching. And I put the examples here of Dunkin' Donuts and Tiffany, just because this is a perfect example. This is a Tiffany blue. This is not a Robin's Egg blue. It's not like a light blue. This is a Tiffany blue. Same thing with Dunkin'. This is a percentage of a hue, right? It's almost, so if you have a very specific color to your logo, your brand is very important that you keep that consistent across the board. You're going to want to get a PMS code, and you're going to want to tell them that, and they'll probably charge you 25 to 35 to 45, something like that. All these one-time setup fees, right? Once you've done them, you can print them, over and over again. Any other questions? Sorry, I haven't asked that in a while.
I'll just knock out one real quick because this will be easy for you. Chris asked, can these companies bag and put your labels on as well, like your Amazon labels?
Yeah, so I'm going to, probably not. I'm going to say probably not. Unless you get a really small promotional company. The bigger ones won't. The smaller ones, I'm still going to say probably no.
Yeah, like Scott, your buddy there, probably would not be able to do that for you.
No, absolutely not. No.
Okay.
He would not. It could, if they're working with a tiny manufacturer and a tiny plant that might be willing to do it, maybe. But I would say I would not count on that.
Okay.
So.
Cool. All right.
Cool. All right. Okay, so we were this whole time, right? We were talking about relationships, right? So just as a recap here. You get, the human element. They can help you with sourcing. They have a large variety of products, trends, knowledge, what's going on out there. What are people asking for? Various designer capabilities. They can send you samples right away. Market testing we didn't talk about, but I'm going to get into that in just a second. Now I'm going to compare that, right? So this is the first time we're talking about online. I'm going to compare that. Generally, they're less expensive. I mean, it makes sense. There's no middleman there, right? It's just less expensive. You're not paying for that, but you're not getting some of these other things. It's generally a faster and easier process. Like I said, you go online, you choose what you want, you upload your logo, you click submit. Yeah, I mean, I approve everything. It's pretty easy, straightforward process. There are ones that have general support. I know that Vistaprint does. Some of the other bigger ones, you'll have to call them for that, but it's pretty generalized. I don't think it's going to be very individualized. I know that they do have a little bit of basic design help per request. So I do believe that a lot of these major companies will send you, how I said you can send that source file of with the Kleenex box or whatever, where they can send it to you and you can pass that along to your designer so he knows how to create it perfect. I believe that you can download. It may not be the source file, but it'll probably be a JPEG, like an image or a PDF that they can certainly work with. So it's definitely to size. So they can do that. There's also stackable coupons for a lot of these places. A lot of them offer those things. And then Ebates. I think I just looked the other day. I think Vistaprint was at like 4%. Not huge, but there's a lot of benefits. Number one, it's gonna be faster and it's gonna be cheaper, just at the end of the day. So what I say when I'm looking at both of these, and when I've used them equally, I've used all really equally. When I usually immediately know which company I'm gonna go towards. By the way, Vistaprint, they have the things outside of paper products. It's not just that, right? And then, on the opposite end, companies like Safeguard, they have paper products, right? So you could overlap both, right? And you're still going to get a pretty good deal with both of them. But I would say the more simple the design, the more likely it is I'm going to go to an online company.
Okay.
And the more complex the design, I'm probably going to start off with the relationship type company. And then eventually, if I'm reordering and things like that, I could probably find it less expensive somewhere else. So what I really like about relationships is that it's a good starting point. And so I can tell you, in the utilization, how what we're talking about here is very straightforward. I'm sourcing. I'm finding sourcing for purchase. I am finding a product. I like it. I buy it. I sell it. Right. That's what we're doing. That's what we're talking about here. That's the simple way. I want to mention. That you can do this sourcing and you can do it for testing. This could be its entirely own a workshop all on its own. So the general concept here, though, is that you're paying for the middleman fee, right? Their prices, just like a wholesale, right? Like between you, you're paying for that. You're paying for those services that I listed before. You're getting personalized help, and you're getting the benefit of their lower minimums, because likely, right, manufacturers will have a much higher minimums, right? Correct. Which kind of makes it a higher barrier of entry. So the concept here is that you would use them for testing, right? So I'm happy to pay the higher prices from the promotional company so that I can test out, I can get everything set up. I can get exactly, the artwork, everything. I can get it out there, and I can test out, 1, 2, 3, 10, however many I need to, until I've proven the concept, until I feel comfortable that I can go now back to that manufacturer and buy there in bulk, because all of these products, they all come from a manufacturer, right? Yep. You know that there's in between. And so you can follow that rabbit trail.
That's awesome.
Rabbit hole? Wait, trail?
Rabbit trail, yeah.
It was one of those. You can follow that and go to the manufacturer after you've proven the concept. And then it's a lot easier to buy, 1,000 of these products if you need to, once you absolutely know they're going to sell. Oh my goodness.
So maybe you take a drink of water. No, actually, I wanted to say something real quick, Christy, is that we're going to get into examples, and it's if anybody is like not quite getting this yet, you'll be able to see it with these examples. But I wanted to say that a lot of you are in my private label mentoring group already, and so I talk a lot about using wholesale companies as private label suppliers. So you might go to a trade show and find a wholesale company that already has a product that looks kind of generic, their brand name's not on the actual item, and you ask them for permission to you take that product out of their packaging, put it in your own box, or put it in your own package with your sticker. So that's really easy to do. But what got me so excited about this method and using promotional companies is there's no permission to ask. They already expect you that you're going to put your own label on it. In fact, they're already set up to do that. They have all the designers in-house. You send them your logo, or maybe they can even help you create your logo if you tell them what you want. But they already, it's not a permission asking thing. You're just saying, I like this. I think this is going to sell well. I want 20 of them. Put my logo on it, and it's done. You're not having to. It's just even easier. So this is private label the even easier way.
The even easier way.
Yeah,
right?
Really.
I mean, very, very quickly. So anyway, I wanted to make note of that because, guys, I know that I want to acknowledge you are paying for their services. There is a baked in fee to their prices. So I don't want you to go off and start looking through the catalogs and coming to points where you realize you don't think that you can make any profit off of, and these are mostly the higher end pricing, right? So this cat laser thing, I think it was $44. I did follow the trail on this one, and I spoke with, 20 calls later, but I found the manufacturer, and it was like $26 what they would charge me. So there's quite a bit of a fee that they can put in there. Not always, but I want to say can put in there. And that's usually seen more in the higher priced items. So if it's a $2 item and they're taking 25%, that's not a huge deal, right? But it's in the higher priced items that you're going to see that. So I just want you to be aware of that and don't be deterred by that. There are ways that you can get around it, but that is not really part of this 4-week model. So I really don't want to spend too much time on that. I know you guys are going to have questions, but I really want to keep us on track and, kind of go through the easier stuff here. So I'm going to move on. So, when I'm looking at when I'm looking at one of these two companies, these are the things that I'm looking for. These are the questions that I ask myself, right? So when I'm looking through catalogs of the promotional store companies, right? When I'm looking through those, right off the bat, I do mine a little bit backwards, right? A lot of people start with the, Amazon, top 100 bestseller list, right? You could totally do that. I have found that working backwards kind of works for me. I don't spend a whole lot of time on it, but I do sort of work at this backwards. So immediately I'm looking as I'm flipping through catalogs, what haven't I seen before that looks interesting, right? This one, number 2, is actually what I probably use the most, more often than anything else. What could be repurposed, right? I'm thinking of shapes and sizes and colors. What does this product look like, right? When you think about it, like a mug is a ceramic cylinder, right? Until you put something on it, until you say coffee goes in here, until you put a logo or a saying or a number 1 dad or whatever on there, it's really, so you have to start thinking about different shapes and sizes. How can I use the same cylinder cup, a cylinder ceramic thing, what does that look like to me, right? So I use this a lot. And I've got a good example to show that a little bit later on. But does this product complement anything I'm currently selling or that I know is trending or popular? So I started off, I asked myself, okay, I'm gonna make a list of all the things that I know are like popular and trending. I got like 5 things on my list. And it was pretty pathetic. It wasn't until I started looking at things, until I started flipping through catalogs and that I was like, I know that that's popular. I know that's trending. I know this chevron pattern, but like things like that you just sort of know because you didn't even know you knew. So that's what I'm looking for, just what looks interesting, but also what looks, trending and popular, and what could possibly go, what do I want to bundle with, right? And so when I go online, it's a little bit different. I'm thinking different things, right? I'm thinking paper-based. Doesn't have to be. This is entirely me. I like to live in the world of paper because I will show you plenty of examples of how you can use paper. It's so easy for me, but I like to think paper. I also like to think novelty. I think, how can I add sentimental value? Because paper is completely pretty much worthless, right? It doesn't have any value to it. Right. But if I add a picture to it, if I add a saying, if I add words to it, if I make an origami out of it, right? Like I can turn something of no value into value if I can just add some sort of sentimental message, some meaning to it. And then lastly, this really kind of works for both of those. But I look on the most popular list for Pinterest and for Etsy. Etsy is, the most creative people on the planet, I really feel like, are posting, either selling on Etsy or posting on Pinterest, or both, right? There's just so many creative, cool things out there. The DIY stuff is just, it's insane. And I just want to say this for Etsy, this is not about looking for ideas to steal. It's about looking for what's popular there that may not be on Amazon, right? So it's just it's just that idea generation kind of thing. Actually, I don't know if I told you this, Ryan. Ryan and I were screen sharing. It was a Friday night. It was like, not last Friday, it was the Friday before. So like 10 days ago. And Ryan and I was taking him through, and I was like showing him through Pinterest, and I was kind of scrolling down or whatever. And I was like, oh, look at this. And here's an idea for this. And I was just kind of taking him through this exact same process. And we came across something, and I thought, at first I was like, look, this is made out of this and this, right? Like 2 very basic things. And I was like, and it's a very trending topic that I just would have never thought of, but I know that it was. So I would totally share this with you, except Ryan, actually that same weekend, I started looking into that a little bit more, and I found another product on Amazon that was, again, I sort of drilled down, I dug into it. And I found another product that there was only one seller, and it definitely had room for improvement. And it was basically a paper base. It was a form of a paper base, basically. And I found a very small niche supplier for it. And I went ahead and ordered it. And I had the design. I went to Fiverr. I had somebody create it for me. And here it is. It's 10 days later. So I just in that amount of time, just from that, I don't know if you remember which one it is, but anyway.
Yeah, I do. And don't worry, guys, because you might think, well, please share with us some examples. That's the next step. We're going to actually see pictures of stuff, and she's going to go through the Safeguard site and actually go through some of the examples of products they have and just how she thinks. Because one thing that just kind of set her apart that I thought was so cool, how the way she thinks about products is different than I've ever thought of them myself. So you guys are in for a treat there. So.
Oh man. Okay. So here we are in time. Okay. So when I just say, yeah, thanks.
You're okay.
Okay. So, process, right? So when I say that I work backwards, right, I try to go through very quickly because you can get really caught up into that process. So, I look at something that piques my interest, no matter whatever causes my interest to be piqued. I look up the popularity on Amazon. If it's somewhat popular, if it's got a good ranking, I'm looking at the competitive levels. If that passes sort of the, I look through a couple pages there. If it's got a good, and then I start crunching numbers, right? And then I start looking at the ROI. A good ROI. If it's not, maybe it's just like an okay one, then I'm going to start looking at bundling possibilities. If I still think it's viable, this process takes me 5 minutes. And if it doesn't match that, because you see products all the time, right? You're like, oh, that's interesting. If this doesn't pass in 5 minutes, I'm done. I move on because something else. So that, the product that I was just talking about, my pet care product, that was a decision that was made very quickly because I knew instantly. I could match the popularity on Amazon, very little competition. ROI was insane. I knew I could bundle it, and that was it. That was all I really kind of I mean, there's more to it, but that was all that's when I took it seriously, right? That's when I really dug into it, but it passed that initial test. So if you guys are working backwards, that's just sort of my quick thought process. Okay, cool stuff. We are
teddy bear.
Finally into cute little teddy bear. Okay, so we're finally into some examples. So the first couple examples I'm going to show you are things they go into the bucket of the online, right? I'm going to show you things on ways for using paper products, essentially. So the first one here, I really like this one. This one is, it's a teddy bear. You can actually find this on Amazon. It's a teddy bear with a poem bundle. I've got all of the stats here over on the side. So you can find this. You can find this exact same thing on Amazon, and they chart. Oh, I cheated.
It's okay. It's all right.
Spell the next one. Cheating. So $32.50. The rank right now is 58,000, and it's in home and kitchen.
Okay.
All right. Estimated sales per month is about 41. All of my stats that I found on Jungle Scout Estimator. So 41 sales per month. You see these parentheses here. This is a love poem. I know it's kind of difficult to read, but it's love of my life and then some other stuff, right? And it's got a cute little teddy bear here. This is probably something that's going to sell really well around Valentine's Day. So I went back and I looked at what the rank was for February, and the rank was 6,000, 7,000, something like that.
Wow.
For the month of February, which I sort of just gave a rough estimate. You can't ever really know.
Sure.
But probably 200 to 250 of these were being sold just in that 1 month.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
So what I like about this particular example is that this is a prime example of sort of being an exclusive bundle, right? It's bundles usually you bundle things so that it's more difficult for people to jump on for you. This right here is your private label, right? You go, and I've done this before because I've done another product that was a poem. I found a lovely woman that was on Fiverr, and for $5, she wrote me a very lovely poem. I gave her what I wanted to say, the feelings, the sentimental whatevers, and she wrote me one. I'm not a great writer. So, but all this is, right, when you think about this is probably a small frame. Most frames, a common size would be like a 5x7. So I can go and I can find a 5x7 postcard, right? And all of these examples, I did price out. A lot of these, I found an actual site and priced them out. It cost 30 cents. I have ordered from Lady Printing, which is one that I listed earlier. I ordered 5,000 from one, and it came down, even with the outrageous shipping, it was like $50 shipping, we still came out to 2 cents a piece, right? Wow. So it's just like an estimated cost here, right? So this, this is a generic teddy bear. You could use a name brand teddy bear and then put it along with this, but it's so basic. You'd probably get this, $5. I'm guessing it's probably like a 10-inch teddy bear. With a generic black frame that maybe, I don't know, $1, something like that. So this whole thing, you're probably looking at $6 or $7, and you're selling it for 32.
That's crazy.
But how I said before, so you can get this going, right? Like, let's say you make some sort of concept like this going, you can change out the poem, right? Change out the teddy bear, right? You can make anything, you can make this a different sort of love for a mother and daughter, or maybe it's grandma, or maybe it's not even, it doesn't have to be love at all. It could be graduation, right? Whatever you want. So you can have multiples, because if year round, it's going to sell at like the 41, right? 41 sales per month. But what if you had 4 or 5 of those? And then you're making that return, right?
Yeah, all the different kind of holiday seasons you could do one.
Exactly. So very basic. And the private labeling part, you paid one time, you paid $5 for someone to do this for you. And you're paying, if you got it to that point, you could do, cents. We're talking about cents, nothing. So that's one of the reasons I really like that as a good example. All right, you guys saw this one earlier. Sneak preview. All right, so this is, again, it's another thing that you can find on Amazon. It sells for $6.50, which is a little bit on the lower side, right? Like I think we all kind of like the higher priced items, but I thought it was another good example. The rank is, 1,495. It's in beauty, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it was there. Sales per month, again, Jungle Scout, 1,300. So even if you're making $1 off each one of these, right? And this is, by the way, I'm sure you can tell, but it's a play on the pin the tail on the donkey, right? It's pin the mustache on the dude, the guy. I can think of so many ways that you could play this game, many that you could just do. But really, I priced this out. So what is this? what am I looking at? I'm looking at shapes and I'm looking at material. This is an 11 by 17 poster. It's probably bigger than that because you can see that it's folded. I looked up the pricing for 11 by 17 inches because I did not expect to have to fold this, but I think it's actually probably totally fine to do that. But I didn't expect to have to, because whenever you get to 18 inches, right, it becomes a totally different fee structure, right? You're in the oversized category. So that's the reason I kind of picked that number. But now that I think about it, you can really kind of fold it up. And then this is a 2x3 sticker is kind of what I just assumed that it probably was.
Yeah.
I found a promotional company who sells custom stickers of any shapes and size. You can pick if it's a 1x3 or a 3x3, you choose whatever you want.
Wow.
And so this is the cost that I worked out. It's probably about $1, and that's on the high end. You could get this lower, but this is probably what I would spend if I were to actually buy this product today. I would buy whatever 50 of these and whatever, and it would cost me less than $100. But still, even if I'm just making $1 here, I'd probably raise the price or whatever. It doesn't have to be this. You don't have to be stuck with that. But I just want you to understand that something that you can find of good value that people are looking for can be done for $1.
That's
right?
awesome. Just so you know, Christy, when Lisa says you can drop the mic right now.
That's awesome.
That's what I thought too, guys. When I first saw this, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" It's like this is so super simple. Why didn't I think about doing this before? And so again, it's something that anybody can do. This just has so many applications. I mean, don't have to take her examples and go with those, and you can if you want, but think outside the box. What else? How else can you use paper to differentiate yourself and not make it almost nearly impossible for somebody else to get on your listing?
Exactly. So here's another good one. So paper placemats, right? Paper. We're talking about paper again, right? You can find this on Amazon. It's $15 for a 50 count, right? It's a pack, right?
Yep.
Rank of 36,000. It's in home and kitchen. Sales per month, again, Jungle Scout, 180, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is material. It's a 10 by 14 piece of paper. It's not even a thick piece of it. You could make it thick, but it doesn't even have to be a thick piece of paper. So I actually found a promotional company that would do placement, that specialized in placemats. Well, different things, but they had a thing for placemats. And I could actually get this product. I could get it so where it cost me $1 for 50.
Wow.
And so it cost me $1. I sell it for 15.
Wow.
And I love this because not only, if you guys are just looking at this as sort of like a 50 count, the first time I saw this, when I was thinking about placemats, a long time ago, when I first started thinking about bundling, I thought, to me, the most classic bundle, I couldn't get it out of my head. I wanted to get it out of my head. I couldn't get it out of my head. Classic bundling, it is like, a themed paper plate with a matching napkin with like a cup, right? Think birthday party, 40th, whatever, weddings, whatever, matching all of that. You can find that everywhere, right?
Wow.
This is if you wanted to but everybody has that same thing. So, right, if you were to do like a frozen, like a frozen birthday party, right? And so you've got like 10 plates and 10 cups and 10 napkins, that kind of thing. Everyone has the same access to that same merchandise, right? That branded. So how do you separate yourself? This is a way to do it. And so, and I'm not going to go anywhere near sort of Disney anythings, but what I can do is I can probably color map. I can probably find that, same color frozen blue, right? And I probably just do like little like snowflakes, right? Like polka dots, but they would be snowflakes on here. And so it would just be white and blue. You could even do 2-color processing, really, which would be even less expensive.
Wow.
But anyway, so making that stand out, making what you're currently selling. So when I think, what are you currently selling that other people are on there that you want to differentiate yourself?
Wow.
So paper placemats, I really kind of actually love.
Crazy. So that's like an $8-9 profit just on that one item.
Yeah. I didn't even run profits. I figure
probably
there's a decent profit there. Okay. Love this one. I've done a version of this, not this in particular. I've taken this concept. So again, find it on Amazon, $62. The rank is 12,000. It's in jewelry. Right now, the average sales are 44 per month. And what is this, right? So I'm looking at the paper, not the necklace, right? This is hardback paper, or what they call like a display card, right? I did find a promotional company. I did price this out 22 cents. So I don't know how much this necklace costs. I have no idea. But the difference between 22 cents and $62, I'm gonna guess.
Big difference.
Right? Like you probably, you know.
There's some room there. You can probably spend $10 easily on that, or even 20, and still be okay.
Right, exactly. So if you want to do quality, but the other important thing is, in this company, by the way, I'm gonna hope that this is not anyone's. Dog-eared is one of the big ones.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually, I think they're based out of California, but they they have everything, every like family, sister, friendship, luck, you name it. They have replicated this. So this worked for them, right? They just pick a different charm. Luck is like a horseshoe or something. And it's very simple, but they replicate it over and over, and they have an entire product line of probably, I don't know, like 50 necklaces in either silver or gold. I mean, think about it. Once you have this idea, it's not like this is just the one and only idea. Okay, I've got to move to the next one. How can you also, it's just messaging.
Yep.
And the thing is that this brings value. So when you think about, I don't know this, I didn't actually test this out, but when I'm thinking about, like if I were to look up a whale necklace, I don't know this. I'm going to guess that there's probably not a lot of people searching for that. There's probably not a lot of products out there for that. I don't know that. I'm going to guess. But the fact that you're calling it something, right? You might be able to look up family necklace. That's probably pretty generic. But let's say luck, right? Or you know, if you wanted motherhood, you could do any symbol, right, for motherhood, right? So the point is that I think this together makes this brings that each on their own. You couldn't just sell this card by itself. That doesn't make sense. And this whale necklace on its own might not do so well on itself. But when you put it together, boom, you've really brought some sentimental value. So going back, I know that I kind of glazed through that. You guys were probably just, you know, not paying attention to that particular slide where it was, you know, these are the things that I'm thinking of. How do I bring sentimental value, right? How do I repurpose this? You know, these are just the thoughts that I go through. All right, we're getting close. I didn't price this one out. I forgot afterwards. I did not price this one out, but this was something that caught my eye sort of at the last minute that said, you know, if you walk into Barnes & Noble, all you're going to see right now is a trending thing for coloring books, right? Why not do a coloring poster? You know, again, it's probably you could make all various sizes, 20 by whatever. But coloring poster, not going to cost you very much. I'm sorry, guys, I didn't price this one out, but you know, again, a paper product, trending thing that I know about, something very easy I can do. So, okay, so moving on. So those were my paper examples, if you will. So those are what I would probably use on a company that was an online company like a Vistaprint, right? This is getting more into types of products that I could possibly use from the
relationship store.
Yes, the relationships. I'm thinking retail. Well, I don't know if that's wrong. Okay, for that. So here we go. So we've got, and this is still very basic, right? So price on Amazon, $12. Rank 1,000 in toys.
Wow.
1,000 in toys. Look at these sales. Insane. Because what are they? They're 9-inch balloons, right? Nothing. I found a manufacturer that will let you put whatever logos, whatever images you want on there. Not a manufacturer, a promotional company. $1 for 10 balloons.
Wow.
So again, we're looking at $1 to 12. So, you know, and you're looking about this number of sales. And I know this is trending. Like, are these emojis or emoticons? Both?
Yeah, I think something like that.
Anyway, this is sort of like a trending thing. So pick something, right? You know, a theme, and then go with it. So, all right. This is one of my examples. So, like I said earlier, what do I, when I look at something, this is the thing that I probably use the most with a lot of, especially with my bundles. What looks like something, right? Like I'm looking for things for shapes and sizes and colors and materials and textures. So I found this. This is on Amazon. It's a hanging fishbowl, right? And so when I'm looking at this, and it's $7.99. It's a rank of 16,000, but I did not find that for you guys. Sorry, I did not find for either one of these. Shoot, sorry.
It's okay.
Won't be able to do total apples to apples, but okay. Probably pets. So hanging fishbowl, right? What does this immediately look like to me? I am seeing that this is, you know, a flat thing, you know, one flat side that looks like a bowl, that it has a little, you know, hole in here that I can hang, right? Okay. So then I go over here and I think, well, what could I fill into this? It's a container. It's a container that hangs on the wall. What could I fill with that? I could fill it with anything, right? But it reminded me, I have a terrarium, and I would think that would be fantastic to hang on my wall so it doesn't take up my desk space. So a terrarium. So all I have to do is take this product, right? And this is selling for $17.50. So it's a huge difference between these two. And all I've done is market this as terrarium instead of fishbowl, Right? Two very interesting concepts. So that's what I mean when I say think of shapes and sizes and colors, because you can take this exact same product and make it into something else. All you have to do is use it for a different purpose. And this is where, when I'm looking at Etsy or when I'm looking at Pinterest, that's where I get most of my ideas. I look at DIY kind of things and I think, oh, I would never have thought to use a brick like that. You know, things like that. You just would never know. But there's genius people out there. Like, just see what they got going on. All right. Oh, catalog. All right. So I'm going to take us through just a couple of examples. Good. I know we're over time.
Okay, go on. You're good.
Sorry, Paul.
You're good.
So this is, I just want to take us through, so I'm going to walk you through kind of what to expect here. But this is Safeguard website. If you want a catalog, right, you can go over here and look at the catalogs that they offer. All different kinds, right? Like whatever it is you're looking for, you can totally look through those. You can request a catalog, you can call them, you can do whatever. But they do have, so I mostly spend time in the promotional products. They do all these paper things, right? Envelope, store heater, sales shoots, they have those. They do a lot of other services. But here, so I'm going promotional products. So let's see, I think I was looking earlier and I was going at cooking. So I'm looking here, just different products, you know. I've got different categories over here that I can break it down. I've got the price structure. If I know that I really can't spend more than $3 to $5 on a product, or if I'm looking for more of a higher end product, I want to go to 20 or 50. You know, I want to forget all this other little stuff. I want to go to the big stuff, right? Colors, if there's something I'm looking to match it with, right? So you can search by that.
Okay.
One example that I thought, again, this is kind of going back to, oh, here we go. Magnetic. Okay, so this is a, I saw this earlier because we've got a grill now and I don't know how to do it, so I really don't know what I'm looking for, right? How to cut the perfect steak, right? So this I thought would be a really great thing if you were selling maybe like a barbecue tool set or barbecue, I mean, anything, right? Like anything that had to do with cooking, that had to do with something like this, and you wanted to differentiate yourself, right? You know, it's magnetic quick reference chart, right? So all you have to do is just put on your logo here, and it's yours. You can put it with whatever you want. So, so just to take you through kind of what you can expect on this page, they don't give you a ton of information. They want you to call them, right? They want to build a relationship with you. So they're going to give you a little bit here. So you've got the product number. This is what I would use, and then I would call them and I say, here's the product number, so you know what I'm looking at. Okay, blanks available. This means I will not sell you this product without you putting your logo on it. You cannot just buy it as is. We won't allow that. Production time is 7 business days. I'd say that's standard. That doesn't include all the time that you go back and forth with, you know, setting up your artwork and, you know, proofing and all of that. It does not also include the time it takes to ship to you. So you probably do like 5-day ground ship. So this whole thing from the time that you decided you would want to do this, it'd probably take you about 3 weeks, right? You're going to go back and forth with your logo. They're going to send you a proof, blah, 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 7 business days, and then 5 days to send it on over to you. So 2.5, 3 weeks.
Okay.
Rush available. This means during production time. That does not, you can rush a ship. If you wanted to overnight to you, you can certainly do that. But this is about production time. So for whatever reason, the reason that they have that is that some companies, some manufacturers say, everything takes us 5 days. Everything takes us 5 days. But really it doesn't, and you can push things on the queue. They just want to give everyone a high expectation so they can beat that. So that's when they'll probably tell you that rush would be available.
Okay.
This right here, guys, it's your description. Use it. Use it. Like all of this beautiful language here that's going to help you when selling this product. Use it, right?
Beautiful.
So here are the breakdowns. It makes sense, right? As quantities go up, price goes down, makes sense. What I want to show you here is it always starts with the lowest. And so whatever the lowest number is right here, that's how you're going to know that's what the minimum is. You can also see it when you add it to the cart. It'll tell you here, minimum quantity. What you won't do likely is upload your artwork. So what you'd probably do, right, if you wanted to, you can order this online. You don't need to, but you could order this online and they'll say, okay, great, we're going to contact you, right? We want to build a relationship with you. We're going to contact you. And then we're going to get your artwork that way. So
that's so cool. I can already think of a million things you can do with this. You can take that and bundle it with some kind of a steak thermometer for, you know, getting the right temperature or, you know, whatever. So many different, I think you're going to show them one, but
well, yeah. And like, you know, even if you're buying the 250 at 72, what is that? Like $180? I mean, I know that's more than the 100 that we said. That's fair. That's fair. That's more than that. Okay, I've sort of looked up a lot of these things. I don't know, Ryan, give me a category. We're gonna do one that we just haven't looked at. So
Well, there was you wanted to do the spices. I think let's try that one
let's do spices.
because you could bundle that with I think there's. I was on their site earlier today and saw some things that would work with this.
Sriracha sea salt. What on earth? There's got to be somebody for that. Okay, so what you're seeing up here, you're seeing a symbol here that says Canadian supplier, right? So they can tell you that. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. Other times on the right-hand side, there's none of them here, but you'll see like a star or an A+ provider. That just means that they work with them a lot. They usually probably have better deals with them. That doesn't mean that these are bad at all whatsoever. It just means that the ones that have a sort of a star rating, they just prefer working with them for one reason or another, or they get a better discount with them. So, did you say that you like pink Himalayan sea salt? Did you tell me that?
We use that, yeah.
I've never had that before.
Yeah, so my wife's a big health nut, and she said it's healthier than the stuff that's like the regular sea salt.
I've heard, something about iodine salt. Salt that's iodine. I mean, anyway, but Pacific Blue Flake. Okay. So here's we were looking at barbecue, right? So here's a rub, right? So it comes on a tin can, looks kind of neat. Obviously, you put your logo right here. What are we looking at? We're looking at, so the lowest one here is $12. So, 12 units.
12 units, wow.
And that's what it would be, $6.99. It doesn't look like they give you a great breakdown, if you go more than that, but you could probably make something good out of this. So you would use it. And guys, if this was something that you're interested in, ask them for a sample. I mean, see if you can try this, right? They might not send, they'd probably send you the full tin can. If it was gigantic, they might send you
right.
But just to try it out. So anyway, sorry guys, I know that we're over. I really want to
you're good.
on examples, but Ryan, I know that you have a couple things that you want to say, so I'm gonna let you go with that, and then we can
go over it. All right.
We can certainly take questions. So I'm going to hand it back on over to you.
All right, fun. I bet people are like, no, I want more, Christy.
Christy needs to take a break. Take a break. My throat, my voice is just gone.
No, I understand. Okay, a second here. All right, so guys, I just wanted to kind of sum up what she's talking about. Basically your imagination is your limit on this thing. You have every single thing that you need from what she just talked about to go and do this. You're going to get a list of all of her suppliers that was on this on these slides earlier, and you'll get a copy of all these slides so you can review this as well. But you have everything you need right now to move forward and do this, and that's why we did it this way. We're going long because we obviously want to make sure that you get your complete value out of this. So there's two things: the relationship and online. You can go online to Vistaprints and make the paper things and create bundles with those. You can go onto the relationship sites like Safeguard and do bundling, like with the that steak chart that we saw, or the spices, or there's thousands of products. I was going through there and found so many really cool examples of things that could be private label products on their own. And you just call them up or email them and say, I want this product, I want my logo on it, and you got your own private label product. Yep. So literally your imagination is your limit on this. But if you guys feel like you want a little more assistance, or you're ready to jump into private label, you guys that are doing bundling and don't care about private label, you're good to go. If you're already doing private label, you're good to go as well. But if you wanted a little bit more hand holding, you want a little bit more assistance with Christy's method, then I just want to briefly go through the private label mentoring program and tell you what it's about. Christy's a part of it. She's in there as an expert. And so there are 17 lessons, and this is my original private label, the easy way method, that I talk about essentially going to a wholesaler and getting permission from them to take out their product from their packaging and put it in your own. And so that's the basis of the 17 lessons. But we go through the whole private label process from the introduction all the way to the end, where you just wash, rinse, and repeat. We all even talk about if you can't find your product in the United States and you have to go to China and order off of like Alibaba or AliExpress, there's actually an easy way to do that as well. So 17 lessons in the mentoring program. And the mentors, there's just 4 of them. There's more than this. folks like Joy Packard, Jason Taylor in there, but we have Skip McGrath. There's a picture of Christy. Is Riley going to be in the group too?
I mean, I could talk him into it, maybe.
Okay, all right. Jenny Hunt's my friend. She's the one that helped me start it. And then, of course, I'm in there as well, helping you guys through the whole process. The private Facebook group, it's based around a private Facebook group. And so it's just, if you have questions, we're in there all the time. I'm in there all the time. Christy is still working a regular job, and so that she absolutely loves. So don't expect her to be in there 24/7. But I've learned enough about her method that I know that I can help you guys through it. And she'll pop in as much as she possibly can to help you out. She's committed to that. But it's a really cool program, a really cool group that you get all your questions answered in the Facebook group. And there's a good group of people in there. The benefits, easily have your private label product by Q4. If you're doing Christy's method, you could easily have your private label product by July. So you can have several products by Q4. Take back control of your business. You're not having to, a lot less worrying about people jumping on your listings. In fact, with private label and using her method, you don't have to worry about that at all. There's a never-ending supply of inventory with absolutely no competition. You saw how there's thousands and thousands of products on these sites that you have access to. You're not alone. There's a supportive community of experienced experts and other sellers, and then you have step-by-step lessons with assignments. One of the bonuses for joining the mentoring program is you get 50% off the private label wholesale supplier database, and I had a typo there. So the database is my fault. The database is a list of about 2,000 wholesale companies and about 1,200 private label companies. And these private label companies already have programs in place for private label. You basically call them up and they already are ready to go for private label. They know exactly what to do. The second bonus is you get the full private label webinar series. Next week, I am going to be starting this webinar series. And what it is a step-by-step going through all the 17 lessons in a webinar format live. And these will be recorded. So if you have questions, you can ask me questions live on these webinars, and you get full access to this. And it's valued at $9.97, but it's included. Bonus number 3 is updates from Christy's niche promotional company list.
You want to call it?
Yeah, Gary was in there and said niche. So we'll go with Gary. Gary's the expert. So you guys are all going to get the list that she has right now, but she's constantly adding to them. And so being a part of the program, you'll get constant updates to her list as she finds new ones, because she's and the cool thing about this is she's doing this method herself, so she's going to be constantly looking for new suppliers, and we'll post those in the group. There's over 1,000. Did you have something to say? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, I just sorry. I know. I just want to say, going back to that. I mean, you know, if people as you're looking for your private label products, right, as we're going through this in the group, and you're saying, you know, I'm looking for a product that is whatever, X, it doesn't matter what it is. I can certainly, if I don't have that in my list, I'm sort of building my list. It's also for me to sort of, a lot of it's in my head. I need to kind of get it out there. But if you have, you know, if you're looking for a specific product that's about whatever, I could probably help you find that. I've worked with enough. I don't want to say that. I'm certainly not going to promise that. But I've worked with enough that I kind of know, or I know that I could call someone that maybe help you. I don't want to totally just say that I can do that for everyone, but that's something that I definitely feel that I can help you with if there's a certain product or a certain type of product that you're looking for. So even if it's not just a list, it's more like, hey, send me a message, or hey guys, I'm looking for this type of thing. I'm not sure where to find, you know, a promotional company or a supplier, that kind of thing. If it's a wholesale, Ryan's all over it. If it's a promotional company, I can certainly help you find that.
Oh my gosh, that's cool, Christy. Thank you. And she didn't tell me that she was going to say that. I know she was going to be able to be in the Facebook group a little bit and help answer questions, but to go beyond and go that far, that's awesome. Thank you so much. That's going to provide a huge amount of value. Last year's price was $797. We launched the private label mentoring program about a little over a year ago, and that's how much people paid. And they didn't have access to Christy's method because I didn't even know who she was. And number 2, they didn't get the webinar series that's included. Here you get a money back guarantee. If you have questions, contact me. There's my email. There's a photo of Joy Packard, and she just talks about how the knowledge of private label has changed my Amazon business forever. Knowing that I have the ability to brand myself and can scale that up has created endless opportunities and the ability to have financial freedom. She's going to love your method, Christy, and she's in this group, so she's going to get to see it. But private label, it does. Endless opportunities, guys. The webinar sale is $247, but I'll get to the special. 17 lessons, again, private Facebook community, 50% off the database, private label webinar series, updates to Christie's supplier list, fast action bonus. The next 20 people get $50 off. It's only not $197. So I think the cool thing is, you know, I mean, for those of you who are really geeked about this method, is essentially being able to ask Christy questions. That alone is worth it. So.
Cool.
Yeah. So guys, that's it. Let me just a second. Let me put the offer up here so you can just make it easy. You can click right to it.
Get to again. I'm not seeing them. So.
Oh yeah. So there's a few questions, and guys, we're gonna stick around for a little bit to answer any questions that you have. If you have a question, please post it and then mark it as a question. You can mark the little bubble, and it'll mark it as a question. But we have just a few right now. Jason wants to know if promotional companies can take credit cards.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yep. They can bill. I think I think they can do. They probably won't do personal checks, but yeah, absolutely take credit cards.
Okay. Gary asked, can you get the UPC added to the packaging? Would they do that on the outside of a package?
Man, I thought I was going to be really equipped to be able to.
Like on those Kleenex box that you showed us with the designer. I mean, I can't imagine any reason why they couldn't add.
Yeah, as long as so there's certain products that you can do a full-on complete design of, right? Like the entire thing, like they call it a wrap design, right? When you think about well, that's a bad example, but there's certain things if you have the ability to do a complete wrap design and you're on the full packaging, then I don't see why not. Okay. There are certain products where you're only able to put like a 2-inch, there's like a 2-inch spot that you're putting it on the physical product rather than the packaging or something, or it doesn't come with packaging. Then I would say not, but that wouldn't make sense anyway. So yeah, I don't see why not. I've never thought about it, but I certainly don't see why not if it's got the full packaging. Yeah.
Okay. Sailor, I'll check on that, saying the site can be reached. I'll check that real quick. We're having some issues with Nanocast. Just a second, I'll find the exact. Christy, I'll give you another question to ask. Francesca asked, so you don't need a reseller certificate to purchase from a relationship company?
Nope. Nope. You can call them up. You can call them up tomorrow. Call them up. Give them a call.
That's awesome.
I'm interested. I saw this product on your website, or Chris. By the way, I'm not getting any kickbacks. By the way, from using Safe. Any one of the companies that I've told you about. Just side note, I am not getting. I have no affiliation. I've just worked with them, and really, I have probably the strongest relationship with Scott, which is why I wanted to feature his website and his company the most with all of my examples. But I am not getting any kickbacks. This is just my personal preference and what I've used before. But call them up. Call them up or look through their catalogs and find something that you're interested in. Call them up and say, hey, you'll probably get any one of their other team members. There's Gail, or you might talk to Michelle and just say, hey, I'm interested in this product. Can you tell me more? And they can explain everything, right? I'll tell you how it works.
That's awesome. Yeah. So Sailor, you were asking about getting in, and Sailor, I think you might be a part of my private label mentoring program already. If you are, maybe that was the wholesale program. But you guys that are in already in the private label mentoring program, obviously don't need to buy tonight. you're going to get all this, and you're going to get the updates to her list. So this is retroactive for anybody that's already in there. So if you're in there now already, don't purchase anything. And so I also put the link there. I broadcasted at the bottom, so you guys should be able to see the link directly to it if there was a problem with going to the website through that link that I had. Norma asks, is this program the same as the private label mentoring program? I'll answer that, Christy. Norma, it's just a part of it. So what we're offering tonight is the private label mentoring program, and then just these extra things like the private label webinar series that I'm going to do next week, and then the updates to Christy's list. So it's kind of like her method is becoming like a program within a program.
Yeah. Well, you could do both. I mean, right? Like so in the teddy bear example, right? I might, because there's nothing branded on that teddy bear. I might get that from a wholesale company. And the same thing with the frame, but then I'm going to buy I'm gonna create the private label product out of the 5x7 postcard kind of thing. So I would use them in conjunction, absolutely. But right, a thing within a thing.
Cool. Ann wants to know if there'll be a replay. Yes, Ann, everybody that's in here will get access to the replay. So if you need to hop off, it's not a problem, and you want to go over it again and hear just kind of, sometimes for me, I don't get it all once, and so you will absolutely get the replay. Sai wants to know, where did you find the promotional companies? How did you find those promotional companies?
Google. I Google search. Depends on what it is. There's a lot out there. Yeah, I would just Google for them. There's different sort of techniques if you're looking for certain kinds of things. The other day I was looking for something that was what's the word? A brochure holder.
Uh-huh.
And this wasn't particularly for me, but I was looking for that, and I went to all my standard ones first. And then I just found that it just wasn't the price range that I was looking for. And so I started actually looking, what it was made out of was acrylic,
Uh-huh.
right? And so then I looked for acrylic, wholesalers and acrylic suppliers and promotional companies. And then I came up with a really awesome one that was out in California, who they have everything there in California. They actually make the molds there. So it wouldn't be any cheaper to go across seas because they do every single thing there. Anyway, it was one of the cheapest ones that I could find for that particular thing, but I ended up looking for what the material was made out of in order to find that one. So, but yes, I would just Google, start searching. It should not take you, vetting through all of the options would probably be your bigger concern, I would think. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Gary wants to know if you can order tax-free from them if you have a resale certificate.
Ooh.
Do they charge you tax at your company that you're at now?
You charge tax, so they should be able to. There's no reason why not.
Uh-huh.
I would not think that there's any reason why not.
Okay.
Because now that I think about it, I've kind of skirted around that in the sense that sometimes I send it to a prep ship company that goes to a sales tax-free state, so it doesn't really apply. But yeah,
right.
I don't see why not.
Cool.
They would certainly be able to tell you that. I think the bigger concern would be if you were going to like a medium size or a smaller company, they wouldn't know how to handle that. So it wouldn't be that the answer would be no. I think it would be more like, oh, how do we do that?
Right.
But they work with, businesses. That's what they're doing. They don't necessarily go direct to consumer. They work with businesses, right? Mm-hmm. Who go to the individual consumer. So, it would make sense that they would have that built in, or that they should have that ability. I've never done that.
And Christy, this is a question probably more from me, but Rob asked about, do we go over how to get UPC codes for this private label product? And so, Rob, typically what's been done in the past, and I know there's been a big uproar about Amazon, and supposedly people think they've changed policies, which I've been reading Cynthia Stein, and I'll actually post this right now in the chat. She has a good blog about just explains what's going on. Apparently they haven't changed any policies. They just might be enforcing the ones that they have always had on the books. But there are some companies that you can get UPC codes from that aren't necessarily approved, or that can't be traced back to the GS1 database, and that's what originates all the UPC codes. So if you're doing a private label product and you're going to focus really heavy on private label, or you want to your brand's going to do well or whatever, Cynthia does recommend going straight to the GS1 database to get a code, but she says you don't have to. And especially if you're doing just bundles, there are companies that you can go to that are authorized resellers, in essence. And so I'm also just going to post 2 more links that I found in the My Silent Team Facebook group to help you guys out. This is kind of confusing, and I'm not a total expert on all that, and everybody has their own opinions. But so just to boil it down, it sounds like you can still use regular UPC codes from other companies besides GS1. They just have to be on an approved seller list, and some of those links are in those Facebook chats that I sent you there. So hopefully that'll help answer that, and definitely read her blog about that. And Abe says he uses Barcodes Talk, never had a problem. That's actually the one that I do too, Abe, and that's never been a problem for me. Barcodestalk.com. Ahmed wants to know if we're still getting a copy of my ebook. Yes, and I will, and somebody else also asked is how we're going to get the list mentioned. Barry asked that. So I will send you guys all the lists that she has so far and my ebook. It'll just go out in an email, probably with the replay.
Right, we can do that, certainly.
And
it's something that I'm building right now, and I have sort of a vision for it to be very kind of like a robust thing, but to be totally honest, it won't be a full, complete thing at this point because I'm still working on it, but I will definitely send you what I have.
No, it can be a work in progress. That's not a problem at all. Audrey wants to know, she's not familiar with Fiverr, so she may need help with that, or is their site self-explanatory?
I would say it's pretty self-explanatory. Do you want to send in like how to spell Fiverr? Because I know it's.
Oh yeah, see, it's just.
So I don't know if you finish the link, but yeah. So when you get to the website, you're going to see all the different services. So it's services they provide, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it'll kind of tell you at the top in the banner. It'll say if you need graphic design, and then you can drop that down to sort of a logo illustration or a sketch or like a caricature or different types. There are different types of artists out there that do different types of things. Mm-hmm. You can also go. There's another up at the banner. That's sort of like a creative writing, I think is maybe what it's called.
Okay.
And that's where I went. When I found the woman who does writing for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think I said in the example that that I'd had someone to write a poem for me. She was fantastic. There's other services they provide. Those are the few. There's ones that will do marketing. I'm a little, I don't know. I've never used them. I'm more hesitant on using those, but some people may have had great examples, so please don't take that as against it. But the graphic design, really comb through there. And my one little tip for that is I always contact so what you're going to do is when you start clicking one, let's say you want someone to create a logo for you. Mm-hmm. You're going to go to graphic design and you're going to go to logo, right? And then it's going to start showing you all these pictures, and it'll show pictures of people's artwork, right? So you can see the type of design, right? Like if you want to like sort of a watercolor sort of logo, if you want whatever, you can sort of start to see their style so that it kind of matches yours. So first thing I do is I start looking through there and I start looking for the type of style of logo or whatever it is that I'm looking for, something that sort of matches that. And then I'll kind of narrow it down. You can pick your favorites. There's a little heart button. You can pick your favorites, and then I'll go through for whatever, 10 minutes, I'll comb through a bunch, and then I'll go and I'll look at the ones that I've basically starred. Mm-hmm. And I'll look at the difference between those. I'll look at the difference. Some of them, if I need the EPS file, I always think that that's an important thing to have, but I can manipulate that, and I like that. So they give you the file format. So they'll explain, they'll tell you everything that's included in that gig. And so what it says, sort of over to the right bottom side, whenever you've clicked on their profile, it'll say contact seller. And so I always contact them first, and I always say, hey, I love your artwork, or, compliment them and whatever it is they're doing. I love this. I really want to, I'd like to be able to hire you for XYZ product. Here's a little bit. Does this sound of interest to you? And I'll usually have a couple more questions that's not listed in their profile. Uh-huh. But what I'm really looking for are not just the answers to my questions, but I'm looking to see how quickly they respond, how well they respond. I have found one or two that instantly I was like, I don't want to work with you.
Right.
So vet them or whatever. It's just one email. You can usually get a feel in one email. Some of them are super duper duper professional, and I love working with those. So I'm happy. I can. I hope that's enough information.
Yeah, we could probably do a training on how to use Fiverr.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
So maybe that'll be the next webinar. You want to do that tomorrow night?
Right. Oh God, the break is what needs to happen.
Let's see another question for you. John wants to know, do these promotional companies bundle multiple items into a single box of your design?
I'm trying to think of an example of that.
So let's say that take your, you go through Safeguard and you get that steak chart, and then you want the spice thing.
Would they all go in the same packaging?
Yeah, would they go and put it in the same packaging for you?
I'm gonna put probably a big fat no on that one. I'm going to guess that they are, because those are probably going to come from two different manufacturers, one that specializes in either one of those.
Okay.
You could find a manufacturer that specialized and did both, and that was the right pricing for you. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're really not. They're just in the market to put 1,000 products on a pallet and send it on to you. Or just send out whatever, or 100 of them.
Right.
That's their business model. So it would be very much an exception to the rule, I would say, if that were to happen.
Yep, that's what I figured too, just from what I've learned from you over the last couple weeks. But you could send those to a prep company. As Christy mentioned earlier, they will send it to a prep company for you, and those prep companies can bundle it together. I know that the Bullards do that in Tennessee. MyFulfillmentTeam.com can take your items actually from 2 different sources and bundle it in one package for you.
Yeah.
The other 3 questions we have are for me, so I'll just read them off. You can take a drink break. Francesca wants to know, when are you starting the webinars for private label mentoring program that started back in April? So you, Francesca, hopefully I'm saying your name right too. I apologize if I'm not, but you joined back in April, but the private label mentoring program webinar series is going to scheduled to start next Thursday, and I'll announce that in the program. Felicia wants to know the name of the Facebook group. It's just called Private Label Mentoring Program. That's the name of the Facebook group, but that is a paid group, and that's what we're talking about. That's what the screen's on right now. So if you want to be in that with Christy, we're doing the sale for $197. Norma wants to know, the 17 lessons are the same in the Private Label Mentoring Program. Yeah, Norma, you're in the mentoring program already, and so the 17 lessons that I'm talking about on this screen are the ones that you already have access to. Awesome. I'm so glad I'm saying your name right, because my wife, her name is Melane, and it's spelled Melane, and it's her name gets butchered up all the time, Melanie, and so I'm really conscious. I hate messing up people's names. It really bothers me.
Oh, absolutely.
Yours is easy to say, Christy. I don't think anybody could mess that one up.
Most people call me Christine, Chrissy. If I introduce myself and if like noisy around, they're like, "What are you, Chrissy? Are you Christine? What are you?" And then they can never spell it right, because there's different ways to spell Christy. So even though it's so much a pronunciation thing, that I totally get where you're going with that.
Right. That's awesome. Francesca wants to know, are you Italian?
No. I'm Greek.
You're Greek?
I'm Greek.
Cool. A Greek from Oklahoma.
Greek from Oklahoma. Yeah, it's actually, I'm Greek.
Cool. Guys, thank you so much. Chrissy, that's the only questions I have right now. We'll stop it. If you have any other questions, feel free that you think about afterwards. Email me, ryan@ryanrieger.com. Is there anything else you want to say before we?
No, Ryan, thank you for hosting me and having me. I really appreciate that. Guys, everybody was awesome. These were actually really great questions. I really tried to anticipate what you were going to ask me, and you guys threw me. I did not expect any of those, but I hope that I answered them good. I really, there was a lot of, I think, kind of expectation on this webinar. I mean, it's a kind of a bold statement to put, 4 weeks at and less than $100. And I really hope that you guys got what you wanted out of this, that you really got some creative ideas. You really are, where you can go, a first couple of steps that you can take to really get started on your private label or exclusive bundling, right? Like not just a bundle, like make it exclusive, make it yours, that private label product, and that you can do that, and that you feel like you're not going to spend thousands of dollars or hundreds and hundreds of dollars in order to just prove that concept, because not a lot of us have that money to do that. So I really hope this was helpful for you. It was an honor. It was an honor to be able to get to do this.
Cool. Chrissy, thank you so much for being on here.
Absolutely.
We'll come up with something else to do. You probably have all kinds of ideas. So
yeah, I'm never short of them. That's true. I am never short of ideas. That's one thing.
Guys, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Again, if you have questions, just send me a quick email.
Okay. All right.
All right. See y'all.